Some is like maybe they see each other every 6 months, every 3 months, every 3 months. But it's periodically they see each other, not all the time.
Yeah.
So that could be quite a bit of pressure on the relationship.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
as long as a couple makes it work, they have to put a lot of effort into making it work. Then it will work.
Yes.
That's
Thank
what
you
I
so
think
much.
anyway.
Thank you so much, ma'am. You've made a lot of vital points. One of them is, I did ask earlier what could why would any couple want to live separate anyway? And you have made it clear. There's quite a number of reasons. The example I was giving about my uncle. He was working in all different. They transfer him a lot. He goes through a lot of transfer from one location to another because of the nature of his job. So as a result of that, him and his family were living separately for the whole time. They were living separate, but he was always coming home to check. Now, you've just mentioned something really important as well, which is immigration status, which is actually one of the reasons I brought this topic up. The last time I did this topic, it was referring to love across the ocean and stuff. And one of the things that we focused on then was the fact that some people don't have the immigration status are not allowing them to be able to bring their spouse or visit or something like that. Now, you've mentioned something again about that immigration. And I have noticed since this, how do I call it now? There's a mass immigration recently that people call jackpot.
Yes.
A lot of people had jackpot, and that jackpot had caused a lot of issues within families. A lot of families have been forced to live separate, live in different countries. And most of the time when they are planning it, they think it was going to be easy. Oh, in the next 6 months you come and join me, in the next 3 months you should be able to come and join me. But like you said, it takes a minute. Sometimes people just assume that once I get there, I'll just do this, da 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 da, and then I will pull things together. I'm just wondering, should it be something that one should actually venture into at all? Or should we say, no, until both of us are ready or be able to travel, then you're not going? I just want to know, what do you think? Should people just, say, okay, well, if you want to go, you can go and hustle. I'll come and meet you later. Or is it something that you probably advise?
I see a lot of, it's usually online, I see a lot of people having all these sorts of problems, and they think it's easy, and then one of them will go and then the other one cannot come for whatever reason, and it's like it causes so much. And then the one that doesn't go, we think the other one doesn't want to bring it, but they don't know how abroad is. Abroad is not Nigeria. It's always different. It's a sort of different sort of circumstances sometimes, and it's very difficult because it's like the other person will think maybe they've got somebody else in the place they've gone, but sometimes it's just difficult.
Yeah.
They have no control over how long it takes to process papers. You just don't have control over that. And then even when they come, they will find, by the time they come, they find out that being in a different environment, it's a different culture.
Yeah.
And things are different in the abroad or wherever they go.
Whatever they call it. Yes, that's the name.
So
yes, you're right. In the abroad. Now, there's
Yes.
there's quite a lot of things that could be at stake. One of the things that you just said now, one of the we're talking about the pros and cons of living separate, living in a distant relationship, and you've just mentioned one of them, suspicious. The other person start getting suspicious. The other person start thinking, hey, I called you yesterday, you didn't pick the call. Are you sure it's not because you're with another person? Or stuff like that. So that's one of the major things that people actually go through. Now also, if it is impossible for one or both of them to visit each other. For example, people could be living abroad, but you can always come and see them anytime. If it was that kind of relationship, I believe that that's still a lot better. Ó ṣì ń da ipò òkè o, anytime tí bá ti miss ìyàwó mi, mo máa ra tickets, mo máa lọ rí. Or anytime tí I'm missing my husband, I can go and see him, or he can always come over. But there are some people that they don't have that opportunity. They don't even have it. And it's taking into a year, 2 years, 3 years, going into decades. I know someone that waited for decades. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I don't know. Should that kind of person just look at it and be like, you know what, Jackie, move on? because ole dear. And is it even possible for people like that to be how do I call it now? Ṣé lóyà ni màá pè é báwo ni mo ṣe máa sọ tẹ́ pé wọn ò ní cheat on each other? How easy is it for
Oh,
them?
I have a cousin like that. It's like over 20 years she's lived like that. Her husband lives abroad and she lives in Nigeria. And it's been every time, even it got to a stage, even my mother used to tell her, why would you find somebody else? But she refused. She stayed with her husband right through. And eventually, he still hasn't come home, but they managed to have children even through their distant relationship. And it's like, it's different to me. It's different, but they maintain their relationship, and it's been a long time that their relationship has been like that.
Wow.
So she talks to her husband, and they maintain their relationship somehow.
Wow.
So
And
it does work sometimes for
yeah,
some people.
yes, it does. You know that the one you just said now, I think almost every family in Nigeria has somebody like that. Because I used to have an auntie, she's a cousin, she's my mom's cousin. I remember she was waiting so long for the husband. The children were babies when the man left. And by the time they will even have time to communicate. And those days, it wasn't as easy as it is now. Communication is not as
Yes, there
easy.
weren't phones. No, people didn't have mobile phones in those
Yeah,
days.
yeah. There were no phones. They used to come and call her from. There's one
Yeah.
house that she used to go and receive calls. I'm like, you know,
Sorry, yeah.
and she will wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. Sometimes the call will not come through. She will be
Yeah.
so distressed and upset and be like, and to her, she thinks the person is not making effort to call, but the person is saying, I'd called, but it wasn't going through. I night tell.
Didn't go through.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or àwọn kó tó lọ pè wọ́n from that particular place to get to our house. By the time they get to our house and the woman quickly get up to go and receive the call. By the time àfi débẹ̀, fóònù ti fóònù ti cut, you know,
Yeah.
and she will now be sitting down waiting. I just feel like that's a lot of stress, you know. And
It's a bit easier if there's no barriers to mobility.
yes.
Then you can go and see. Maybe it's more money or finances that is the problem. Like you can't afford to see the person not every month. Maybe you plan every 6 months. One person goes to visit the other sort of one.
Yes.
That sort of thing. That's a bit easier if there are no barriers other than if there are no immigration barriers.
Yes.
Then yeah, it's a bit easier. Then it's more just a planning thing.
Yeah.
When you can plan your movements.
Yes.
That sort of thing.
Yes, you are right. And I remember one other thing that that eventually happened to that my aunt. They at a point the family started mounting pressure on her and started advising her to move on because they could barely hear from each other. And so sad. It's such a painful experience because she eventually moved on because the man they weren't sure what was happening. At one point they were not even sure if the man was still alive or something. But that was in the days when there were it was not easy to communicate. And she eventually moved on, even though the relationship she moved on to did not work as well. Until today, she should be close to 70 now. That thing has affected her in a way. You know, she's traumatized. I don't even know. It's like just putting your life on hold to somebody. Thank God that this generation is different. Things are totally different now. There is opportunity to communicate, and by the time they eventually found that man, you know, as I said, at one point people were worried that is he dead? Is he still alive? Does there something happen to him and blah blah blah? And when he eventually found out that he was actually there hustling, and after a while or so, he married a white woman to get his status stable. So those are other things that me personally. That's why personally I don't think I would want to I don't think I want to encourage anybody to be engaged in stuff like that, except there's means, like you said, Mama Banke, except there's means of going back and forth. You can come visit, I can come visit. Even if it's just one person coming to visit, it is still better. But still, if it's only one person coming to visit, for example, if the husband is always, I know someone that always goes to Nigeria to go and impregnate his wife. This person was always this person was always traveling to Nigeria to go and impregnate his wife. Hey Jesus. And I know someone here as well, a lady. she would always travel to Nigeria to go and get pregnant. And then she'll bring the pregnancy here because the husband can't come here. And she'll be the only one nursing the baby and nursing the baby. It's tough, you know. A lot of things could go wrong in between.
Yes.
You can't go to this person. You don't even know what this person is up to. Maybe the person is even keeping another. Wow, fine. The person is coming to you, but you can't go to the person. Thank you, Ashabi. Thank you. You can't go to the person, but the person keeps coming to you. You can't go to the person. You don't know what the person is up to on the other side. You know. Also, I know a friend as well that was here for a very long time, and was sending home to her husband and the son. So until she was able to get her paper, and then once she got her paper, she didn't announce that she was coming home. She just turned up on the man. She was paying for the rent, paying for everything, maintenance, da, da, da. It's the lady that is here. By the time she got to Nigeria, she found out that the man had married, actually had a set of twins she was not aware of. You know, so these are the things that
Wow.
could go wrong. And they talk every time. You know, this is not too long ago. They talk every time. They exchange, they exchange pictures, they chat, they do this. Never, no, nobody told her that her husband had already gotten married to somebody. Instagram people, you are quiet. So please don't be quiet on me. Say something if you're on TikTok as well. Please say something. Don't leave this conversation to just me and Mama Banke. It's a very important. It's a very important topic, and I don't know how people that are in it cope. But normally, when I come on this show, I don't reach a verdict. I don't say, "Oh, this is how it should be. This is how it should be." But personally, talking from my own point of view, I don't think I'll be engaged in any distant relationship. Because when I got married, when I got married, I was in Nigeria. My husband came to Nigeria to come and marry me, and we had a year to process my papers. So he had all it took for him to process my papers. But that just 1 year, it felt like 10 years.
Yeah.
It felt like 10 years to me. So
Yes.
I can imagine somebody waiting and waiting and waiting. Personally, I'm not gonna be an advocate of distant relationship, especially when one or both of them cannot travel to meet each other at any time. I will not advocate to it. I will not encourage
Yeah.
anybody that I know to do it. And also somebody said something about the expenses as well. The expenses, the money that's involved when you're living in a particular place and your spouse is living in another place. That means you have two homes to maintain. Those are the cons. We're talking about the pros and cons. So you do not how do you maintain two homes? It's not going to be so easy as well. So the expenses is one thing as well. Hello, Bookilicious. Please join the conversation. We're talking about distant relationship and the implications of it. Please feel free to join us. And if you know anybody that's you, what do you think? What's your take on people living apart, couples living apart, whether for whatever reason, especially those that do not have the opportunity to visit each other, or do not have the opportunity or the facilities to travel at any time. What would you say to them? What do you think about them? Personally, I am not an advocate of that kind of relationship. If you can come, fine. If I can go, that's still fine. Which personally, I don't even think I'm going to live apart from my husband. I don't think I want to do it. Now, let's talk about the impact of this on the children. Banke, what do you think the impact of this on the children? For example, like this lady I'm talking about, she goes to Nigeria to go and get pregnant. Every time she goes, she just come back and knows like this woman is pregnant. And then she'll be nursing the child all by herself. What's the implication of this on the children? How does it affect children when dad is living apart, mom is living apart?
The absent parent, yeah, the absent parent is going to be a stranger because they really won't be part of the family dynamics because they're not there enough. If we have a dad, it's usually, well, if you've got children and they're living with their mom, so usually the daddy that is away. So they have their life, the way they live their life, because you are not there. Yeah, you might be a figure on the phone, but because you are not living right in their environment, and when you come along, it's difficult to slot into their life
The
because you will
setting.
now have to slot into their life, and they will know where to put you. Okay, they will say welcome daddy, but then what do they do with you? Because you're not there all the time to be part of their family life. So they're already living their family life without you. And when you come along, it will be very difficult to slot you in for a minute and then you leave again. So it's like, how do they cope with that? And it's like, I think it will be very, I think they will miss you. The children will miss you. Children like having both parents at home. And anybody, the parent that's not there, they miss it. Even mothers do it too, because I remember there was a lady that left her family and came abroad. And she left, it's the same thing. You're not really part of the family dynamic, and then you come in and put yourself in the midst of the family, but they don't do things the way you probably would like them to do, because you're not there all the time.
Yeah.
And you feel like an interloper in the family when you are there. And it might be a bit difficult for the children. So that's what I think anyway.
You're so right. You're so right. Because I in this occasion that I was talking about, when the man eventually came, because as I said, I brought a couple here. The first time I talked about this topic on this show, that was about 3-4 years ago. I brought a couple here, that was on Instagram and on Facebook, that actually experienced it. But then, by the time I brought them on the show, they just moved together. They managed to not move together. And I was asking them, what was your experience? What do you think? The woman said, can I be sincere? I said, yes. She said, I'd already started enjoying my independence. I started liberty of not having any man at home. I eat when I want to eat. I cook whatever I want to cook. I can always make pizza for the kids and we'll go to bed. So when this man came, he started dictating to me, I want a bar, I want amala, I want a 4-euro. She said she struggled with that. And then she was also used to living home without having to tell any man, this is where I'm going. Yeah. And then she said the man also started bringing in his guests, and expected her to entertain them, sort of, as in, Nigerians now, to cook for them. And then she was like, oh my goodness. She said,
it doesn't work like that. You have to give us notice of things like that. You can't just bring guests.
Exactly.
It doesn't work like that.
Exactly. So they started having issues right from there. They started having issues, and it's always the woman that's having to adjust. I'm sorry to say, I'm not trying to be funny. It's always the one that's having to adjust. Anyways, they've been together now for quite a few years, maybe 3 years or 4. And I spoke to the lady again. I said, how is it going? She said, well, I'm getting used to it now. So like I said, they need to give time, and then, let them understand, take time to understand each other before you start imposing things on each other. It can be a bit challenging. I did wrote some things down. Part of the thing that I really want to put out here because there's not a lot of people online. I guess people are just busy or something. So I'm not gonna be here for too long, but it would be nice to just read some of the things that I put down, that somebody somewhere could pick up this video, especially on Instagram, because I know TikTok does disappears, but Instagram stays there. Because a lot of people are suffering in silence because of this thing that we're talking about. And I don't know, some people manage it. Somebody actually said something earlier that some people, their love language is giving each other space. Is that even possible? I say, you know what? For us to actually love each other better, I love you to give me space. So as a result of that, they're living apart. That's a bit strange to me. I don't understand. So, well, that's the way they do their own things. So, we don't know whether, like that person said, living apart makes us appreciate each other more. I don't understand that. That would not be for me. I would rather have my spouse always around. But some people said living apart make them to appreciate each other more. I don't know how far that is true, but living apart, not for too long probably. So and I believe that if care is not taken, you just simply get used to life without each other. Like you just rightly said, ma'am. Somebody that's just come and like, I can't just fit in. I can't fit in. On the people that you came to meet, you're saying, who is this man? We don't even know him. Daddy has never lived with us for like 10, 15 years, and all of it daddy just started living with us. It's going to be like a stranger. One man I saw on YouTube one day said he didn't see his dad for so long, and then when the dad came, they suddenly said, "This is your dad." He went out and came back and saw this big, tall man, and they said to him, "This is your dad." Back in the days, there were no opportunity of internet and stuff, so he didn't even know who that man was. And when they told him that this is your dad, he was just there. He was just like, okay, okay, my dad. And Nigerian men now, you can't greet. You are so rude. He blah blah blah. The next thing, he started hitting the child. That man is a full grown man in his 50s now. He was one that was telling us his own story. He said the man started hitting him. You can't greet. You're so rude. You're so that that traumatized the guy. He now said, okay, this man even came and said, I want to take you to where I live now. And took the guy from where he was used to, took him with him. He said by the time he got to where he was an opposite of what he was used to. And then he kind of froze. And the man started screaming at him. And before he could say that, he said he wet himself out of fear. This guy wet himself. Instead of the man to calm him down, he started hitting him again. That guy was talking about how traumatized that made childhood for him. So living apart is not only impacting both of you, it's going to also impact the children. And we have to think about that. It's going to impact the children. He said the man does not even want to hear anything. Anything is just going to hit him. He's not used to being hit. He's not used to anybody shouting at him. And he said that thing really did affected him to the point that even as an adult, every time he still reflects on that, he still feel traumatized. He still feel the trauma, and he had this resentment towards his dad. So those are the implications of living wide apart and just suddenly coming. We can also say that, can love truly survive without regular physical touch and shared daily life? That's one thing that I'm also wondering. Can love truly survive without regular physical touch? Because I believe that if there is no regular physical touch, it's either you drift apart or one or two of you are satisfying each other from another means. Am I right to say that, or that is just my assumption? Because I'm not really
intimacy. Yes, that would be intimacy. Like,
yeah,
it's important. That is part of what holds your relationship together. It makes your relationship stronger. It's I know some people say it's not important, but I think it is. It's an important part of a relationship, of a relationship between a man and a woman. It's just and I don't just mean the sex, and it's you being together, being used to each other's company, being used to each other's. You will be able to talk and advise each other, being around each other all the time. All that, you're going to miss it. Yeah, you will have it if you're at distance, but it won't be like being in the same space.
exactly.
Being in the same space is so different from being in separate spaces. So, because you can be in a different space with strangers, but when you're in the same space with the person you're living with, it is ever so different. And you have instinctive things about each other, and you know each other much better when you're in the same environment and when you live together.
You're right. You're so right, ma'am. And one thing I would keep saying personally, I don't know. I know that when it comes to being able to hold your body, I stand to be corrected. This is a public space. I'm not saying this with my full chest. When it comes to being able to hold your body, discipline yourself in terms of being intimate with your spouse, I don't know how long that can be for. How long can you be able to hold your body, especially the men? So apparently, if you're so far apart from each other for so long, I believe that it's going to give room for cheating or other things or
Yeah,
some
it
other.
does give her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like what's it called now, allowing each or both of you to be exposed to infidelity and stuff like that, and it's going to be tough. So I think personally, I'm not an advocate of this relationship. Then this relationship
Yeah,
group.
but you think about yourself. So, what is the point of your relationship if you're not together?
Exactly.
What is the point of it? It's like,
Yeah.
it's nice to be together with a person. It's like, that is, because I, when I got married, I really wanted to get married. I was in my late 20s then, and it was like, this is what I want to do. I didn't imagine like living apart from somebody. It wouldn't have worked for
Exactly.
me. It just
Exactly.
wouldn't,
Exactly.
because I wanted to move on the next stage of my life, and that was living with somebody other than my parents.
Yeah.
Because I left my parents' house and I got married, and that was it.
Uh-huh.
So
Exactly.
there was no, I wouldn't have imagined living apart. It wouldn't have worked for me.
Exactly. It wouldn't work for me because I actually experienced it for just a year and it felt like 10 years. It felt like 10 years to me, and there's certain things that happened within that 1 year that till today I keep saying to myself, we didn't have to live apart, that thing wouldn't have happened. So to me, I definitely I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. Then we're talking about loneliness as well. Well, there's no amount of friendship or no amount of other people that you have relationship with that can fix the loneliness that could happen between husband and wife. So if you go out there and say, oh, I'm going to have fun, because that's what somebody was saying to me. He said, I will have gone out to have fun. By the time I come back, I don't feel nothing. By the time you come back and start staring into the ceiling, there are certain things that couples do together that you're not able to do together. So how do you cope with loneliness? How do you cope with intimacy? How do you cope with having to share life together? How do you cope with all those things? So personally, I am not an advocate. I know people do it, but I'm not an advocate of. Um, then somebody said, um, being married and living apart is just you living a single life pretending to be married. You're like a married bachelor or married single or something
Yes,
like that. Yeah.
single marriage.
Yeah. So I don't understand. I really genuinely do not understand. But having said that, like somebody said to me, he said, look, you are blessed that you have a spouse that could come here and then just do your process your traveling within a year and you're able to come and join him. What about people that don't have that? I'm sorry, I will not marry that person. I will not. I will not marry anybody that says I will see you later. Let me just go and hustle. I won't. And even nowadays, people are doing it still for the same purpose. A lot of couples in recent times, all in the name of this japa, had separated. And the families had separated, parents separated from their children just because of this japa of a thing. All in search of greener pasture. So who am I to say, well, people find themselves in this situation, they can't help it. But living apart as couples, I think it does have um more challenges than I don't even know if there's any favor in it. Because I'm trying to look at what can what can I call that? Please feel free to join us if you're online. What can I call that now? Should I call it? I know that we say what are the pros and cons. So, what are these things that can say that somebody can gain from being separate from their spouse? Is there anything? Is there any positive impact of okay, we're living separate? What's there? What's there to gain? Is there anything at all? We're talking about all the things that are not so right, but do we have anything at all that I can say that I was able to gain this in this marriage just because we are separate, we don't live together? How? I don't know. I don't think I can think of any. I don't think I can. Like, except what somebody said that some people their love language is separation, is distance, to give each other distance, which I don't understand. So what's there to gain? Do we have anything that we can point out and say, oh, there's something to gain in being living wide apart. I can't see anything like that.
Apart from your mind going fonder, maybe waiting for, because there's an actress in America. I think she lives in Washington. She lives in Los Angeles. Her husband lives in Washington. Her husband is a senator. He lives in Washington, and that is how they've always had their marriage. They've been married a long time, but that is how they've always had their marriage. She stays in Los Angeles. She's got her own house, and they visit each other. Whether he comes to her, she goes to him, and that is how they've always had their life.
Yeah.
It works for them.
Yeah.
It works for them. So yes, it does work for some people, but then, like I said, you have to have a means of going back and forth whatever period you do it. And if you do it like that, then maybe it's once a month you see each other, and you can work towards that. Oh, and you're not going to see him for the next 2 or 3 weeks. And when you see him before you separate again, that is all. So except you are very disciplined with it, and it has a time frame, then yes, it will work. But other than that, it will put a lot of strain on a relationship.
Yes, you're so right, ma'am. I think the difference between that example that you have just cited and the one we've been talking about earlier is the fact that number one, they're within the same country, just different states. Number two, there's no restriction to whether or not I can come to you. They don't have any restriction, and they don't even have any restriction as to how many times we can come to each other. I think in that situation, it's obvious that the wife can go to the husband at any time she feels like, and they also the husband can come to the wife anytime she feels like, and it's not too far apart. It's not the one that was okay. I can travel, but he can also come here. But I have to think about how much it's going to cost me to travel as well. So they are within the same state, so it makes life a lot easier. Maybe I can cope with something like that. I can cope with something like that. That's not too bad, you know. I don't have anything stopping me. Even if I decided in the middle of the night, you know what, I'm coming to you, stay there. I'll travel 3 to 4 hours, 5, 6 hours, I don't mind, but I'll come to you. It's easier than when I don't even, when no matter how much I may miss this person, I do not have the means or the opportunity of going to meet the spouse. Wow. To me, that's torture. That's mental torture. That's mental torture to me.
Yes.
Yeah, when you cannot oh my gosh, what happened? Live where why is it ending? Do I have to put space? Okay. I don't know why it's saying my people are not tapping, no. People tap. It's about to end my life. If you're online, please tap. It's about to end the life, and this conversation is so interesting, and it's so good. Now let's try to be fair on people that are actually in this situation, who do not have any choice, who wishes they never went into this kind of relationship, who wishes that they could do something but they can't. Because all I've been saying all day, which I think might be a little bit insensitive, is I kept saying, no, I don't think I will encourage it, I don't think I will do it. But whether or not we believe it, thank you so much, ma'am, Sister Tina. Whether or not I believe it, there are people that are in this situation, and they are helpless. There's nothing they can do about it. I just wanted to talk about some positive things that people can do to engage themselves while they are in that kind of relationship. And let's be honest, don't let us be sentimental in our advice on the way we talk to these people. If I want to say to this person, in the meantime, you're married, your spouse is far away from you, you are far away from your spouse, you don't even have the opportunity to visit him, she doesn't have the opportunity to visit you, try in such situations, and then you cannot go your separate ways, at least for now, not for now. In such situations, let's talk about what people can do to engage themselves in such situations, especially if there is no child involved. If there are children involved, the woman might be busy and say, oh mommy, oh mommy, oh. You know, we women, we know how to be very busy with our children. Oh mommy, oh We can keep ourselves busy and be using the children as something as a covering. Thank you, those that are tapping. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you. Somebody's leaving leaving a message. Did I see that? I hope I'm not missing anybody's message, yo. Thank you, those that are tapping. Please keep tapping. So what we're saying tonight is we need advice for people that are couples that are living separate and they don't have the opportunity to visit each other. What can you say to them? Please, guys, say something. Message me, text me, say something on the show. What can somebody do to encourage or to support someone that's found themselves in this situation? Their spouse, they're living so wide apart from their spouse, maybe due to immigration, due to work pattern, due to whatever, and they don't have the opportunity to visit. No matter how much they want to, they don't have the opportunity and the chance to visit them. Can you please leave a message for me to read out to them? What are those things that they can do to keep themselves, sane? Somebody said communication is very important. Okay. I think she's trying to write communication. Communication is very important. Yes, thank God for nowadays. Unlike back in the days where there are no phones, where they have to come and call you from the 10th house, come and receive a phone call. Now the phone is there. Keep yourself busy. Be on the phone with each other. Talk to each other. Engage each other in conversation. Make sure that at least, no matter how bad, you don't spend 48 hours without talking to each other. Please, that's very important. I think I've missed a lot of messages on Instagram. Oh Jesus. Someone said relationships are oh my God, there's a lot of messages on Instagram. I was wondering, I think it's all about the both individuals in the relationship. Somebody said the case of infidelity didn't just start. Couples to be should not be too far from each other. Thank you. That's not love. I've missed a lot of communication. Shashai. I'm so sorry, Instagram. It wasn't scrolling up. I didn't notice that people were. Somebody said living apart, Bawo. And somebody said, I know a friend that it works for. Okay. Someone said intimacy is very, very important. I'm so sorry. I've been seeing all these things. I'm just saying them now. I'm so sorry. No wonder. I remember before I came to join my husband, our little boy screamed and nearly fainted just after 1 year. It's well, it makes you value the presence of each other. Okay. And well, if we have time apart, thank you, Simona. Thank you, everybody. I'm so sorry. Instagram. I don't know how I wasn't seeing the message coming in. There's been quite a lot of messages. I'm so sorry. I was wondering why Instagram is standing still. It wasn't scrolling up. Okay, somebody is sending me I will accept that invitation. So now my mouth has been doing flip. I kept on saying no, I don't think so. I don't think I can ever. Well, there are people that are already in this situation. That is where we are at this point. We've talked about distant relationship, all different kind of distant relationship. Some people are in the same town, they just live apart. Some people are in different countries, they live apart, and they can travel at any time. They can reach each other at any time. But we're not talking about people that have jackpot, whether now or in the past, and they're in a place where they can't reach each other, they can't travel, they can't come to each other. Now I'm talking about how can we support these people? What can we use to encourage them? Or give your sincere opinion about what you think these kind of people should do. I know people that are in this kind of situation. They can't travel. The guy can't come here. The woman can't go to the man. And it's been years upon years. So what would you do, or how would you advise this person? Because we never know who can pick up this what's it called now? Sister Sina, please you can unmute yourself, ma'am, if you wanted to talk. How do we support this kind of people? Because it's so tough. How can we support them? How can we encourage them? Please, Instagram, say something. How can we support people that are in distant relationship that are already, especially if they can't travel, the person can't come here for whatever reason. How can we advise them, ma? Sister Tina, good evening, ma. Welcome on board.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you for joining. God bless you, ma. Thank you, ma. Amen.
Oh, wow, that's a lovely topic and sensitive one as well.
Thank you, ma.
Yes.
Thank you, ma.
The advice I would give, like I said earlier on, is about communication. Because once the communication is there, at least they know that there's hope, And also, for example, now I have a friend that that situation has worked for. They've been married now for about 12, 14 years.
Wow. And they live apart.
And this is the way they operate.
Okay.
The husband goes to her when he's free from work. She comes to him when she's free from work. So that's how they've been maneuvering it. And I think they like it that way for now because it's like the other person doesn't feel so burdened. Like, okay, if you start to do your trouble or your wahala, I'll pack my bag and go and have peace and I come back again. You know, I think for now it works for them. They've been doing it for a long time. At least they have the means to go back and forth.
Yes.
So it's not a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so for people that cannot really connect with themselves, they live very far, immigration problem and all that. I think for me, I think it's communication that will also help them because once they're communicating, then they know that at least, you know, there is hope for them. And also they would decide as well what they want because, you know, I don't know how long they will be doing that for. Are they going to do that for the next 20 years and still remain as couples? Or what is going to happen, you know? But my friends won. I think they have, they want to, like, you know, find a way to come together. It's either she moves. No, I don't think she will. She want to move. She doesn't want to move because she's got a good job where she is. The man probably will be the one moving, you know? So, but I think it works for them. Some people might say, yes, it's okay. But I think they have access to each other at any time that they want to.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Also very good thing.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
What is your spouse doing? You don't have access to them. You don't have communication. You can't reach them.
Yeah.
So they have access to one another.
Yes.
Which is very good. But when they have children, that's why it's also very important because the children might be wondering, why is daddy? You know, those kind of a thing. But I think for the case of the person I know, they don't have children together, so they just have themselves. So they just do as when they can, and I think they like it for now.
They like it.
I don't know how long it's going to continue for. Yes. But like I said, communication is so essential because that's what will help them to still remain that, you know, even if they're not seen physically, but they're communicating, and that can lessen the burden as well. The burden.
Thank you, ma.
So yes.
Thank you so much,
and also, for people that are long distance like that, I think knowing yourself and valuing yourself as well, have friends around you that will also help you to cope with those times, those lonely times, that you're, you know, by yourself. So, you know, it's very difficult, but then if that is what is going to happen at that point in time, then that's what you're going to do.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Statina, I really appreciate your time and I really appreciate your analysis as well. Please, for everybody that is just joining us, we're talking about long distance relationship. We've talked about all different kind of ones. Now we're talking about those that don't even have the opportunity to live where they are, to go and see each other, and it's running into years and they can't go, you know, for obvious reasons, maybe for immigration reasons or whatever. And those kind of people are the ones that I really want us to, I want us to focus on them. How can we support people like that? What advice can you give to people like that?
That kind of situation.
Because Sister Tina said communication, which is good. They should make sure that they communicate. Thank God for this generation of.
She's doing like this marriage talk.
So there's a lot of now. There's a lot of There's a lot of what's it called now? What's it called? There's a lot of I'm trying to mute and
women can stay. But if they visit themselves once in a while, like once in a while, it's not enough.
Yeah. So
I have my friend, she's done it for like 14 years now.
So we should think about those people and how we can we need to think about those people and how we can support them and make them I'm trying to mute Sister Tina. But it's not allowing me. It's not allowing me to mute it. Let me see if I can.
That's not bad, isn't it?
Yeah, let me mute her. So we need to not, those of us that have people like that around us, let's try as much as possible to support them in our own way. Thank you, basically for tapping. Please, people keep tapping so that the life does not end, is not pushed back. So we need to understand that there are people that are in this situation, and it can be quite distressing, it can be quite overwhelming, it can be quite, I don't even know what word to use. So if we find any one of people like that around us, we can support them in our own way, in whatever way that we can support them. But however, we need to also be firm and be realistic. If it doesn't look like in years and years that they've been here, or the other person has been on the other side, they do not see each other, they don't have the opportunity to come to each other. Or should I ask the question, how long can you advise this person to keep waiting? I can't come to my husband because I don't have paper. My husband can't come to me. How long do you advise? Please, I want to hear from you. How long do you advise that kind of person to keep waiting? I mean, let's be realistic. If that person is your relative or member of your family, um, what would you say to them? Because yeah, time is ticking. This time it doesn't wait for nobody. MC Mona says they should discuss about the next step, because men can't wait for too long. That's true. Even the one that we are seeing each other says it's not so easy. So I want to hear from you guys. What would you advise? Something that they should discuss. Okay, what kind of discussion would they have? I can't be waiting. I can't travel. You two, you can't travel to me. Yet we are married. You've been going to 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Years and years are coming to on top of each other. Oh no, the years are so piled up now. Maybe I know someone that was separated for over 2 decades. They were separated for about over 2 decades. They can't visit each other. So how long would you advise that kind of person should wait? If that person is my sibling, what would I say to them? Am I going to keep encourage them to keep waiting aimlessly when there is no time frame to when the paper is going to eventually be okay? That's what I want to hear. Someone said they have to agree with each other the number of years to wait. Okay, so they can talk to each other and be like, if we wait till maybe 5 years and it doesn't work, do you think I should let you go and move on? Or you should also let me go and move on? Like MC Monite has rightly said, they should discuss this thing and set realistic goals. Because anything more to ṣẹlẹ̀ by the time she could say Jack Robinson, I am not joking. I am not joking. They didn't have access to each other for so long. By the time they could say, hey, darugbo, and even back in the days, to make matters worse, they didn't have access to communication like we have now. Somebody may say that, okay, she be now and sort of phone. Someone can make the sacrifice either to go back home or release each other. Thank you, ma. That's another thing. I love that. Thank you, MC Mona. God bless you. That's a very, a very sensible thing to do. You've been here for like 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. Your spouse is back home. You kept on saying, whenever my paper is true, I will bring you. And now it's going to years, going to decades. Like MC Mona rightly said, it's either you do the sacrifice of going back to meet that person and say, you know what, let's just leave everything alone, or you release that person and say, Shofegbo, it's okay, I can let you go, you can move on. Rather than holding to each other. This time that we're talking about is so. In fact, sometimes I look at myself and say, when did that gonna be me? That life is already at this. So holding each other on will not only frustrate each other, it will mean that we are wasting each other's time. Thank you, MC Mona, for that very meaningful contribution. It might be okay for the both of them to agree, okay, they can draw that by. After this time, if nothing happens, if you don't get what you want, or if I don't get what I want, well, I'm gonna let you go so that you two can go, I can go my way, everybody can go their separate ways. Or we can say, you know what, to hell with papers, to hell with within these 10 years, I've worked so hard, whatever I have, I'll bring it to, let's start life together again. Mama Odelegun says that if it's newly wedded, they should just forget it, or come together and forget agree. So newlyweds, a lot of times it happens to newlyweds. In fact, nowadays I have seen where newlyweds, they marry over the internet. where the couple cannot even come for their own weddings. We've done it before on this show, where we now do people's wedding online. The spouse is here, wọ́n ríra wọn online, they only travel, wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe wedding, you know, wọ́n dẹ̀ ṣe wedding ọdún kìíní ọdún kejì, bọ̀dá yìí wà online kò lè wálé, ìyá náà wà online kò lè wálé, you know. I don't think that makes any sense. Anyway, let's be realistic. I'm trying not to be harsh, and I'm trying not to reach a verdict or make anybody feel bad. But if anybody is my relative, I want to engage in stuff like that, I will definitely do everything within my reach to discourage them from going into such relationship. You don't go into a relationship, the person is abroad, you are here, you don't have the means of coming together, and you get married. It's very tough. Mama, this is about older couples with kids should endure till whenever with prayers. Hey, Mama Delogos, I know someone that happened to. They had kids. When they separated, the kids were still young, and now the kids are all grown, fully grown. I mean, it's the grandparents. They've not had the opportunity to come back to each other. I don't think I want to do that, and I don't think I want to encourage anybody to do that. So basically, what we are talking about tonight, for those that are just joining us, I'm going to be rounding up soon. We're talking about the issue of couples living apart, as in love. No, that's not the word. It's not love accommodation. We're talking about long distance relationship. Yeah, distant relationship where a spouse or spouses are living apart from each other. MC when I say, can two of them wait? One person will fall, Shani. Yes. We've talked about the implications. We've talked about how it will affect their commitment to each other. We've talked about how it be two expenses, you know, you're paying here, I'm paying there. We've talked about how probably at one point we start suspecting each other. We've talked about how it's not possible to stay loyal the whole time. You know, human being, flesh and blood, distant relationship in marriage. Yeah. So thank you, Kemi Joyful Noise. So sometimes ìtàn àríra lójoojúmọ́ gan tó bá jáde gan tó bá pẹ́ ju ìbò ló wà, who is calling you, what's on your phone, we start suspecting each other, you know. And after a while, no matter how strong this person thinks they may be, there is more likelihood to fall into temptation, you know. It's like living a single life even though you are married, so it's tough, you know. It's also I think emotionally is not right. I don't think so. Emotionally it can affect them, financially it can affect them, physical connection also can be affected, such that when you eventually even meet, you will be like two strangers. It's very possible you just find out that the chemistry is no longer there because you've been apart for too long. So that could be an issue. Well, thank God for nowadays, the days of technology, video calls, video chats, you know. But does that actually replace person? Does it actually replace you know, human to human? And also, does it actually replace companionship? Not always, not necessarily. Even though it's better than the days of old when they will be so wide apart and then there will even be no communication. Technology has done a great job, but then I don't think AI has given us the chance to touch each other while we are wide apart, no matter how much technology may be. Then how long can you be patient? How long can you endure? How much of success or failure of a distance related marriages depends on personal type. It's so much. There's so much that could go right or wrong, which is one thing again that we need to bear in mind. You know, I hope that people will consider things properly. A lot of times we don't think about it. We just go into it. Until you get inside it. That's why you suddenly realize that then how is procreation even possible? Reproduction, how is it possible when you're living miles away from each other? Especially if you're a young couple and you don't have that opportunity to see each other, you know. Loneliness can lead to anything. When you are lonely, what do? You can call each other for all you like, but it's different from coming together. You know, and the effect on children, like Mama Banke has explained to us, the effects can be so big if they already have children, especially those who took long time before they come together. It can take a toll on the children when they eventually come together. Somebody might come and the children will be like, who is this one that is just coming? Especially if it is the dad that is coming to join the family. All the things that the children used to get away with, dad suddenly comes and starts pashaying and starts, dictating. Men now with their, it could affect the children. I know about a man, I saw it online. The man was narrating his own story of how long he was living separated from his father. And when the dad eventually came, he felt totally estranged. But who is this man? And the man was even being tough and harsh on him, telling him off and saying, hey, snapping at him, to the point that till today, the man is in his 50s. That man is still complaining about how badly his mental health was affected through that he even got to a point he became rebellious, he became notorious, that the man had to send him to Nigeria unannounced. They sent him to Nigeria and they gave people in Nigeria instruction to discipline. He said that actually broke him to pieces. He even made his life got to a bad point. But luckily at one point he managed to be able to come back to this country, but his life never remained the same. So we need to think about it. If it is something that we cannot come together, we cannot visit each other, we cannot have access to each other, we cannot suddenly say, I want to travel and go and see him, I personally would advise against it. But if you're already in that situation, like MC Monat I said, it might be nice for you to bring up the topic and say, Ogbeni or Iyayi, is this how long we're going to be like this for? Talk about it. Okay, how long more do you think we can wait? Okay, take a maybe the next 5 years. Then that will be okay. But after 5 years, if it's not working, I want to release you to go your way and go and continue life somewhere else. Then also, if it is possible, the one that is wherever can make a sacrifice and say, to hell with papers, to hell with immigration status, I'm going back home to go and meet my spouse, whatever it may be. Please do not stay too long before you realize. Do not stick in there for too long. The emotional damage, the trauma, it does affect people in the later part of their lives. I know someone that it happened to. Till today, balance. And by the time Thomas Okwan fẹ́ wá pàdé ra wọn gan, the man had eventually settled down with a white person. Tó ti fẹ́, tó ti bímọ fún. I just hope that people, I hope that we're able to, not put ourselves in that kind of situation. Desperation and all will not lead us into putting ourselves into that kind of situation. I really want to appreciate everybody for joining me tonight, most especially Mama Banker. Thank you so much. You've been amazing. MC Monat, I appreciate you. Thank you, Mama Odele Oguns. Thank you, Yawo Baba. Thank you, Auntie Tina. Thank you, Temitope Sikiru. Thank you to everybody that joined me tonight, that supported me, because tonight I almost felt alone in this place, But I'm glad that people were able to join. And at one point I was saying, thank you, Kemi Joyful Noises. Thank you so much, Bokilicious. Thank you, Shabi Eriyawo. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. It's been an amazing evening. At one point I was saying, topic it makes sense, but why everybody should quiet? But I'm glad that people eventually came back on. And I want to please again tell us about my books. They are still available on Amazon. The first one, The Evolution of Nigerian Traditional Marriage. Trust me, it's not about selling. Honestly speaking, Amazon does not give us much from selling these books. But I just do not want our culture and tradition to die. Please, whatever we can. I'm glad that this generation are now coming up, trying to speak in our language, trying to wear our outfits. We are not proud. So the traditional marriage of our tradition, please don't let it go away. It's on Amazon. The Evolution of Nigerian Traditional Marriage, Past, Present, and Future. The Kindle is $4.99, and this one is $9.99. The paperback is $9.99. Please visit, and then you can pick it up at any time on Amazon. And this one will eventually come on Amazon. I was doing a campaign to donate this one to so many public schools and library, which I've done so much. I'm still donating, but if you want to buy it for your personal use, it's also available on Amazon. Dictionary and Idioms of Nigerian Traditional Marriage. My next book is coming up soon. That is the Nigerian traditional marriage in the face of the law. If you want that, very soon it will be available. But now the major thing go that is coming up this Sunday. If you live around Kent, Gravesend, wherever you live in the southeast, go and buy your tickets. You people have turned me to a comedian, you know. I have turned to skit makers, low GG, because of this. Kent Fashion Week. Kent Fashion Week 2025 is coming up this Sunday, Sunday the 17th. It's a beautiful event. It is the largest outdoor fashion event in Kent. I'm not joking, no. Now, put in mind that I said outdoor. It's the first and the largest outdoor fashion event in Kent. It's going to be beautiful. There's a lot of brands, top brands that are coming to showcase. Please support your girl. Buy your ticket. It's just £15. And if you are not available to attend, you know someone that live local, you can sponsor them to come and enjoy the evening with us. The pop-up market starts at 11 a.m. at Gravesham Borough Council, at the Civic Center, at the Community Square, outside the council. Anywhere you get engaged, just say the council, you go, they will take you there. Just 1 minute walk from train station, and we have free car park that can take over 300 cars, and it's just 1 minute walk also from the car park. Please join me this Sunday, Kent Fashion Week. And then also you can follow us on Instagram, on TikTok, Kent Fashion Week. You can visit our website for more details, www.kentfashionweek.com. It's for your girl. Please come and support. I do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for always. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe máa ń sọ lórí ètò yìí, MC Monite, Mrs. Osofagos, ipe ó máa ń wuni ká jẹran pẹ́ lẹ́nu, ṣùgbọ́n òun fana fún, òun ni kò ń gbà fún wa. Tó bẹ́ẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ, a ò ní rí jù báyìí lọ lórí ètò lẹ́nu, nítorí wípé àwọn Yorùbá ni wọ́n lọ tí wọ́n bọ̀, tí wọ́n sọ wípé kì í dùn kó pọ̀, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni kò ń pọ̀ kó dùn. Ṣókí báyìí òun ni ọbẹ̀ oge. Níbi la máa fi àdàgbà ètò rọ̀ sí lẹ́ni. A tún máa ríra lọ́jọ́ mẹ́jọ lágbára lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run. Èmi Olúwabímiaya Òṣìbẹ̀rù, mo wá ń dágbére fún gbogbo yín pátá wípé láyọ̀ láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Mo ní láyọ̀ láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Ẹ̀yin ò ní forígún, èmi ò ní fẹsẹ̀ kọ o. Mọ́tò yòówù ká lè wọ̀ kò ní forí sọ̀gì o. Láyọ̀ láyọ̀ la ó máa, láyọ̀ láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé. Láyọ̀ láyọ̀ la ó máa pàdé o. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate and I celebrate you, and see you next week by the grace of God. God bless you. Láyọ̀ Ìyàwó Bàbá, thank you.
Àsìkò ti tó, ètò kan. Let's stop traditional wedding. Gbogbo lólùfẹ́ rẹ̀ ń retí rẹ̀. Let's stop traditional wedding. Ẹ̀bùn lóríṣiríṣi, many gifts away. Let's stop traditional wedding.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Mama Banker.
Traditional wedding, ètò ìgbéyàwó tó kọ́ ni lọ́gbọ́n. Let's stop traditional wedding.
Jessica,
Ètò Let's Stop traditional wedding ló lọ lọ́wọ́.
give it.
Kí lorúkọ ètò náà? Let's Stop traditional wedding, ètò ìgbéyàwó tó kọ́ ni lọ́gbọ́n. Let's Stop traditional wedding. Every Tuesday on Instagram, every Tuesday on Facebook, 6 p.m. UK time, every Tuesday on Facebook. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó fún ni lóye. Let's Stop traditional wedding. Ètò ìgbéyàwó tó fún ni lóye. Let's Stop
Traditional wedding. Thank you so much, everybody. See you next week by the special grace of God. God bless you. Bye.